know Vegas doesn't like them. So the Bears are in first place, 8-3. And they are a 7-point dog to a team that can't run the football and very frequently can't score, Philadelphia. Now think about that. Cruddy Carolina against the defense in San Francisco with no pass rush. Cruddy Carolina was a 7-point dog last night. Last week, 3-7 Cincinnati, 3-7 at the time, without Joe Burrow or Jamar Chase, was a 7.5-point dog to number 1 seed New England. So Vegas is telling you you're basically Cincinnati with no Joe Burrow against the Patriots. You're cruddy Carolina against Kyle Shanahan and Robert Saleh. So Vegas does not buy the Chicago Bears, who, it should be noted, are the second best rushing team in the NFL. What does rushing do? Helps you on the road. The number 1 rushing team in the league is Seattle. I think Seattle's won 10 of their last 11 road games. Why is Seattle so good on the road? Because Seattle runs it and plays defense. That's what wins on the road. Vertical passing games, Miami Dolphins, when they had Waddle and Tyreek Hill, does not win on the road late in the season. So Chicago, to me, is actually, if they had a better defense, the run game should help them on the road. Take the crowd out of it, long drives. But it's kind of remarkable to me that Chicago has this great record, and Vegas looks at them and goes, yeah, you're kind of Carolina going to face the Niners. You're kind of Cincinnati hosting New England. 7-point spread in the NFL is a fat number. Here's Ben Johnson this week on this group of guys and the closeness they have.
I think we got the right type of guys, and that's, Ryan's really done a great job with constructing the roster that way. But the veteran leadership is outstanding. Kevin Byard, Joe Tooney, Grady, probably have 10 or 12 guys that I really lean into on a weekly basis just to get a pulse of the team. And they do a really good job of keeping the main thing in the locker room.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you can go 6-1 in close games. Kansas City last year was great in close games. You got to have a good locker room. It's not just the coach and the quarterback. You got to have a good room. You know, I mean, when you get in close games and you trail late and you watch Kansas City against the Colts this weekend, I think Chicago's got a really good locker room. And I also think their secondary is a little bit better than people think. They take the ball away. They got their DBs, cats like wide receivers. But I will tell you, Matt Hasselbeck has yet to buy in, and his opinion is one I hear a lot privately around the NFL on Caleb Williams.
I guess where I'm not like putting him in the Hall of Fame and fitting him for a gold jacket like you want to do. I just don't think this Bears team has played anybody quite yet. Now we will get to know who this Bears team is because the 5 of their next 6 games or whatever are against teams that are way better than the teams that they've beat. They haven't beat great teams. Now, I think this is Ben Johnson has proven he is a great coach and he is the guy. If someone can take him to that next level, I think Ben Johnson would be the guy.
I'm fully aware that a lot of viewers are going to be frustrated with commentators like Matt Hasselbeck for this kind of analysis. The reality is, a significant portion of the fan base outright refuses to evaluate a team's performance with any sense of context, like the quality of the opponent or the nuances of how the game was played. They operate on a binary system where only the final result, the win or the loss, matters. That is simply not a sophisticated or accurate way to assess a football team. It just isn't. This is what makes the upcoming matchup between the Chicago Bears and the Philadelphia Eagles so incredibly intriguing. The Eagles present a paradoxical case. They are simultaneously a great team and a deeply flawed one. They possess the roster talent and the reputation of an elite squad, yet they have confounding performances like their blowout loss to the New York Giants. They built a 21-point lead and then proceeded to completely vanish, failing to score for the remainder of the game. They keep having these bizarre Jekyll and Hyde halves where the offense becomes completely inert, leaving everyone watching utterly bewildered about what is actually happening on the field. Consequently, if the Bears were to win this game, it would instantly be categorized as their most significant victory of the season so far. Yet, there would still be a palpable sense of hesitation in fully trusting that win. The immediate narrative wouldn't be about Chicago's triumph. It would pivot to what is wrong with Philadelphia. They lost to the Cowboys, they collapsed against the Giants, their coach is on the hot seat, their receivers are frustrated with the quarterback. The entire conversation would be framed through the lens of the Eagles' dysfunction. and understandably so. This is a franchise that recently won a Super Bowl. They carry a certain credibility that the Chicago Bears, in their current phase, simply do not possess. For me, that's precisely why my primary focus will be viewing this game through the perspective of the Chicago Bears. As an outside observer, my central interest lies in seeing how the Bears' key figures perform. I am most captivated by the strategic battle. What does defensive coordinator Vic Fangio have schemed for Caleb Williams and offensive coordinator Ben Johnson? From a Bears-centric viewpoint, I will be meticulously watching how Caleb Williams and the entire offensive unit fare against this Philadelphia Eagles defense. When I attempt to gauge how good this Bears team truly is on the defensive side of the ball, I will consciously avoid using the Eagles' offense as my benchmark. Their offensive performance has been far too erratic and unpredictable to serve as a reliable measuring stick. It has been so inconsistent that it becomes impossible to draw any meaningful conclusions from it. At the very least, the Eagles' defense has shown a greater degree of stability, and you can place more trust in the coaching of Fangio than in their offensive play calling. So, if the Eagles' offense only manages to put up 10 points on Friday, I doubt many people would be shocked. However, if their typically stout defense surrenders 40 points, then everyone would be forced to take notice and ask what is going on. I am genuinely excited to see how Caleb Williams performs against this specific Eagles unit. Philadelphia has improved its ability to generate pressure on the quarterback through some of their recent personnel adjustments. They were effectively disruptive against a powerful Dallas Cowboys offense, stifling them for long stretches. But then, true to their pattern, the Eagles' own offense sputtered in the second half, unable to sustain drives, which eventually led to turnovers, forced fumbles, and muffed punts that broke the game open. That is the dynamic I am most fascinated to witness. This Philadelphia Eagles defense going up against Caleb Williams and this Bears offense. Whether the Bears ultimately secure the victory or not is of secondary importance to me in this specific evaluation. My main objective is to assess the performance. If Chicago wins a low-scoring game, say 16-13, but Caleb Williams has a subpar performance and the offense clearly struggles, my conclusion will be that the outcome was more about the Eagles' offensive incompetence than a statement win for the Bears. It would signal that Philadelphia is in serious trouble on that side of the ball. If you hold a dynamic player like Saquon Barkley to 40 yards rushing, it's reminiscent of when the Dallas Cowboys contained him. It doesn't necessarily tell us that the opposing defense is elite. The Cowboys' defense, after all, was torched in the first half of that same game. So, in that scenario, the story remains all about the Eagles' struggles. This is a fascinating contest because it represents the most winnable big game on the schedule for any team, but especially for the Chicago Bears. The Eagles currently have the second shortest odds to win the Super Bowl. Depending on the sportsbook, it's often the Rams at number 1 and the Eagles right behind them, with the Chiefs typically in the third spot. This demonstrates that there is still a tremendous amount of belief in this Philadelphia team across the league, despite the fact that they are nowhere near playing their best football and are mired in inconsistency. When a team is this inconsistent, it becomes impossible to know what to expect from week to week. Look at how the Detroit Lions hung 52 points on them. The Eagles' offense has the potential for that kind of explosive output, but they also have the potential to be held to just 10 points. You simply do not know which version will show up. Adding to the peculiar nature of this game is its scheduling. It's on a Friday, in an afternoon time slot on the East Coast, right after the Thanksgiving holiday. It's a strange spot on the calendar, a weird game that is difficult to get a firm handle on. There are several games each week where I have no strong sense of what will happen, and this is certainly one of them. I don't have a concrete prediction, and I actually love that uncertainty. My strongest takeaways are these. The Bears are absolutely capable of pulling off the upset against the Eagles. Conversely, I have no frame of reference for predicting which version of the Eagles we will see. The matchup I have the most confidence in evaluating, and the one that will be most revealing about both teams, is the battle between the Eagles' defense and the Bears' offense. That is the duel I am incredibly eager to watch. Of course, Caleb Williams' individual performance within that context is paramount. How does he handle moments of adversity? What happens if things start to spiral? Can he overcome challenges and make plays? These are the variables that will be so telling. But those are just my thoughts. I am absolutely eager to hear yours. What do you all think about Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears? Do you believe they can upset the Philadelphia Eagles? Does it seem fair and logical to you that the Eagles are so heavily favored? Let me know your perspective in the comment section below. I read every single comment that comes in. So, whether you agree with me wholeheartedly or think I'm completely off base, let's get some discussions going. Let's have some spirited debates. But at the end of the day, let's just have some fun with it. Please consider subscribing to the channel. We are building a truly amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to have you as a part of it. My goal is to create something we all feel a genuine connection to, something we are truly excited to be involved with. I believe we are well on our way to achieving that. Also, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it genuinely helps with visibility in the platform's algorithm. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.